Not a whole lot is publicly known about Vincent Kojak Giattino, the one-time mob associate and hitman for the Bonanno and the Lucchese crime family. By the end of his murderous career, he would become most notably affiliated with the Tommy Karate Patera crew, a dangerous Bonanno crew who made their bones in drug dealing, extortion, and murder. His name first hits the papers in June of 1980. 21-year-old Frank Burke, the son of imprisoned Lucchese mobster Jimmy the Gent Burke, is arrested. He's arraigned on 2 counts of possession of a weapon in connection to an attempted murder of a 27-year-old Brooklyn man. That 27-year-old Brooklyn man, who took a bullet from a .32 cal automatic to the face, is listed as 27-year-old Vincent Giattino of 599 Crescent Street, Brooklyn, New York. While the circumstances of the shooting remain unknown, Giattino would survive with minor injuries, and Frank Burke would not do serious time for the incident. However, the young Burke would be killed in 1987. During the 1980s to 1990, the Patera crew would partake in wholesale drug dealing and murder, amongst other criminal activities. Kojak would be along for the ride, making it through Tommy Karate's murderous reign, which to me says a lot about his willingness to engage in heinous criminal activity. August 29th, 1988. Wilfred Willie Boy Johnson, the Gotti crew associate who had been an FBI informant for almost 20 years, is murdered outside his home in the Georgetown section of Brooklyn. The morning barrage of bullets would come from the guns of Thomas Tommy Karate Patera and Vincent Kojak Giattino, after they were tasked to perform the hit for Gambino boss John Gotti. The men would flee, not before throwing spikes in the road in an attempt to halt any police pursuit as they headed down to Avenue N. In 1987, Kojak Giattino assists Tommy Karate and Richard David in the murder, dismemberment, and burial of Phyllis Birdie, a woman who Tommy Karate placed blame on for the death of Celeste Lipari, the love of Tommy's life, who died from an overdose while taking drugs with Phyllis. In the late 80s, Kojak is placed at the scene of the murder of Gabe Infante, a Bonanno mobster who is said to have botched a number of jobs for Joe Messina. Infante was marked for death. Joe Messina would order the hit. Sal Vitale would lure Infante to a warehouse, where Karate and Kojak were waiting. He would be shot numerous times by Patera and buried in a Staten Island landfill. On June 3, 1990, Tommy Karate Patera is arrested. Soon, over 20 members of what law enforcement described as the Patera crew would also be arrested. However, someone is missing. Someone informant and Patera crew member Frank Ganji had fingered as an important associate of the crew. Vincent Kojak Giattino is on the run. With no leads yet on his whereabouts, the marshals take over the hunt. Vincent Giattino is placed on the list of the top 15 most wanted fugitives in America. Soon, Vincent Giattino would appear on John Walsh's America's Most Wanted, a Fox network show which brought the faces and exploits of the country's top fugitives into the homes of millions of Americans. The show is said to be responsible for aiding in the capture of over 1,000 fugitives. In late 1990, Kojak would make his debut. Americans would now learn about the organized crime-connected drug dealer and murderer. Soon, the FBI would obtain information that Kojak Giattino was hiding out in Florida. On Monday, July 29, 1991, over a year after Thomas Patera is brought down, an agent recognizes Kojak talking on a phone outside a post office at 3600 Park Central Boulevard in Pompano Beach, Florida. Vincent Kojak Giattino is arrested. He would be held at North Dade Detention Center before being extradited to Brooklyn, New York. Ultimately, Kojak would go down for the murder of Phyllis Birdie and the murder of Willie Boy Johnson, amongst other charges in connection to his exploits with the Patera crew. In 1992, Lucchese mobster turned federal informant Alphonse D'Arco spoke on Vincent Kojak Giattino. According to D'Arco, Giattino was on path to be made by the Bonanno crime family. However, D'Arco had objected to that notion due to Kojak's long-standing affiliation with the Lucchese's, who viewed him as a valuable shooter. Despite Giattino's complaints about his long list of work for the Bonannos, they would not make him due to the Lucchese claim. We will probably never know the full extent of Vincent Kojak Giattino's rampage and the lives he left dead in his path. But till this day, he sits in prison at Allowin Correctional Institution after being sentenced in the early 90s to 5 concurrent life terms of imprisonment, 2 10-year terms to be served concurrently with the life terms, and 1 30-year term to be served consecutively to the other terms, to be followed by 23 years of supervised release and a $200,000 fine. He would try to appeal his case over the years, claiming the state withheld evidence. However, his appeals remained futile.